think it's going to be a pretty good show this week, you know. And if everything goes...
Where's the Open?
Are we live? Are we live, guys?
We're live.
Where is the Open? What happened to the Open?
It left with Matt Duda.
Oh my God! This way. Hey,
well, Dr. Tom, I'm
pleasure.
back. I should shake your hand.
You should shake my hand.
I will. It's nice to be back, but
I would not rib you, Howard.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to Bike This, everybody. Yes, I've been resurrected from the grave. This is the Think, Howard Finkel, joined by the illustrious, the studious, the Louisvillius, Dr. John Tom Pritchard Richard, if you will. And this week we're overloaded with great stuff. 2 weeks and change away from Bad Blood on the 14th of June. Our guest today, it's a rapid fire, it's a who's who. We're going to be hearing momentarily and talking to good old JR, Jim Ross, who has a brand new cookbook about ready to hit the streets. And it's, well, I would say, finger licking good?
Finger looking good. You know, I've heard that all of JR's appearances so far have been like wrapped around the stores. A new Walmart in
Norwalk, Connecticut. We were there. You and I were there.
Well, certainly, it was a sight to be seen.
I saw your pocket stuffed.
Hey, come on, man! You got to get what you can. The point is, I think JR is having a lot of fun signing the cookbooks and going out and meeting the people. He has a lot of interesting stories in there as well. I know it's mainly a cookbook, but a lot of interesting stories.
It's going to be great. Also, we have back with us this week, well, coming back soon actually in the rings of SmackDown and WWE, will be Billy Kidman. And Billy Kidman has been mysteriously absent for, I would say, about 2.5 months now, Tom. And I think he's about ready to bust the mold and come back. And I look forward to talking to Billy and see where he's been and why.
I'm looking forward to talking to Billy. I'm looking forward to watching him go to OVW for a couple weeks to get some of that ring rust off.
We'll talk about that.
I think so. And I think Billy Kidman is anxious to get back as well.
And also we're going to have this week the one and only Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Woo!
You are graced with the presence of truly and arguably one of the all-time greats in our industry. There's a lot to talk about, especially with Ric Flair's matchup coming up in 2 weeks at Bad Blood against the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. So much going on this week in WWE. I don't know where to begin. You know, Roz is going to join us. Hopefully we'll have Taz. We've got an action-packed event.
I got to tell you, I know we were talking about this earlier about SmackDown last night, and the fact that Mr. McMahon was under the scrutiny of the lie detector test, and it was so great to watch. I couldn't help it because the questions he was being asked by Mr. America pretty much fit the bill, and it embarrassed Mr. McMahon in front of the entire crowd in Pensacola, Florida.
And lie detectors don't lie.
They don't lie. And, of course, we found out last night as well that Mr. America is not Hulk Hogan.
No doubt.
No doubt. So a lot of interesting things taking place on SmackDown last night.
We have also our chat room that's available this week, of course, and I'm having some inquiries about JR's cookbook. Well, indeed, what we forgot to say at the top was we're going to be giving away some copies, some personally autographed copies, I might add, of JR's new cookbook. We're going to throw some trivia, kind of like Outthink to Think, with a different spin on it this week with JR's cookbook. And if you are one of the correct answers, send one of the correct answers in at BiteThis@WWE.com. You might just walk away with a personally autographed new cookbook of JR's. And also, what's our phone number again, Dr. Tom? I haven't been around here in a while.
Or 888-LIVE-WWE.
888-LIVE-WWE. Your opportunity possibly to get involved, get some calls. We hope to talk to you right now, and lots going on here. Well, let's talk a little bit about Bad Blood right now, because Bad Blood is the very first offering, a co-promotion of Eric Bischoff and Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's 2 weeks from this Sunday in your favorite city, Houston, Texas.
Well, certainly. Also, I think that it being the first offering between Bischoff and Stone Cold, they are giving it a Texas flavor, if you will, with Booker T getting a shot in his hometown against Christian for the Intercontinental Championship. And I've got to believe that this, if any time, is the right time and the right place for Booker T to get the Intercontinental Championship.
Lightning can strike in a lot of ways, and just looking at some of the past performances, of course, Kurt Angle won at that point, the World Heavyweight Championship in his hometown of Pittsburgh.
Certainly.
San Antonio, back at the Royal Rumble in '97, Shawn Michaels won the championship in the square to circle at that time. So now with Booker T coming into Houston, his hometown, and with the people behind him at the Compaq Center, per se, it might be a very difficult night for Christian.
I think
and
so.
And you know how the fans in Houston are.
Well, I know how I am, and I would love to see Booker T walk out with the championship. But you know something else? Something else I'd like to talk about on Bite This every
Please do.
Friday, and that's Draws joining us every Friday afternoon.
2 cents worth.
2 cents worth. Draws, how are you?
What's up, Draws? Good, and you, Draws? Hello, Draws.
Great.
Well,
Okay.
there goes your big introduction.
Thank you very much. See, I do this for a living, but I'm here all week. Yeah, okay. Well, getting on to Bad Blood, though, one of our guests today is Ric Flair, the 16-time World Heavyweight Champion, showed his true colors. Draws?
Yeah.
Draws, are you there?
I'm here.
I gave you a great big intro, couldn't hear a word.
Oh, man, tell you got to get on those people there.
I know what you did, Draws. You called collect. You said it was for Dr. Tom, and he refused you the first time.
Right.
He would do that.
Yes.
Well,
very
Draws,
good.
it's been a very interesting week here in WWE, and want to get your impressions on a few things that have transpired. Let's take you back to Raw from this Monday night and talk a little about what's happening today. Of course, we have Ric Flair joining us later. How a match now has been made between Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels at Bad Blood, and how, again, Ric Flair is the smoothest operator in our industry. How everybody thinks he's really, honorable, his sportsmanship and everything is there, but then just when you think he's got it, wham, he changes it on you. Shawn Michaels is going to have a battle.
Well, he's definitely the dirtiest player. I know. I for one was shocked that he turned on Shawn, Monday night, especially what happened last week with Hunter calling him, basically saying, look, I want you to lay down. Flair got all riled up, had a great match. He had all the boys behind him. I mean, the fans were behind him, the boys were behind him in the ring. And then come this week, he goes out there, teams up with Shawn Michaels, turns on him, gives him a low blow, and they just put a straight-up whomping on those guys. And, you never know what to expect from Flair, but I think, when it comes to that, that type of situation, hey, you got to think the worst of the man. I mean, nothing against him, but he's proven time and time again that he is the dirtiest player.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind, Draws. I feel that Ric Flair has the ability to go out in front of not only the fans but the entire roster and prove that he is arrogant, sure of himself, and definitely the dirtiest player in the game. But at the same time, he also is a mentor and inspiration to guys like Triple H and Shawn Michaels and The Rock. I say The Rock, but I meant Batista, Orton, guys like that. The fact is, Shawn Michaels looked up to Ric Flair, wanted to surpass Ric Flair, and now at Bad Blood, it's going to be Ric Flair showing Shawn Michaels that he never can surpass Ric Flair. He won't get to be the status Ric Flair is. I don't know that anybody could meet that demand or meet that criteria. But I have to ask you this. Going into Bad Blood, do you see Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels having one of those dream match classics?
I'll tell you what, even at Flair's age, I mean, you see him in the ring, pretty much almost week in and week out now. I think they're going to have one of those classic matches. I mean, Shawn, who had been out but has been back for a while, and Flair, you're going to put those two together. I mean, they're both so charismatic, both, two of probably the top wrestlers in the history of the industry, and I think when they go against each other head to head, I think everybody's going to be in for a treat. I think it's going to be, great for fans, great for the wrestlers. I mean, it's going to be great for the business to see those two go against each other.
No question. And also, what about the matches that were made over the last week? Goldberg taking on Y2J, Chris Jericho, and also Booker T, hometown favorite, going after the Intercontinental title held by Christian.
Well, the Y2J and Goldberg thing, I was sitting there listening to sounded like a shoot interview to me, but the other night, and I think this is one that, even though from what I hear, things have been squashed, whatever, you always have that little thought in the back of your mind. I think when those two get in the ring against each other, it's going to be more than a knockdown drag-out. I think a lot of emotion, a lot of frustration, and a lot of anger is going to be let out in that match. And You know, there are so many matches on that card that are just going to have people, you know, on the edge of their seats wondering just what's going to happen. And like you said, Booker T in front of his home crowd.
Yeah.
I'd like Dr. Tom said, I'd love to see him walk out with a title. I think it's going to be tough, but I'd love to see him walk out with that title.
Well, I don't doubt that Christian's not going to be a guy that lays down. But Howard, one thing I also want to mention is La Resistance could have a big opportunity going into Bad Blood against Kane and RVD. You think that France can pull it off?
I don't know. I was a little, well, of course, everybody's a little upset, of course, the other night, seeing La Resistance winning a flag match, of course, by dirty measures, but, you know, they won the match. They are going to have a tough time, you know, against RVD and Kane, but in my heart, I feel that we have, you know, RVD and Kane are going to retain the titles, but I don't know. Those guys have been coming along, you know, quite well, and, you know, they could just walk away, and I think if I had to go with a pick, I have a feeling they might end up with the titles this time.
Just let's not sell Kane and RVD short because...
No, not at all.
No. One of the things that I've really enjoyed about Kane and RVD since they've garnered the tag team gold draws is the fact that they seem to have consistency. It took a little time. There were some bumps in the road, but they really seem to gel well. They really seem to have their chemistry together. And whenever you get fluidity and uniformity in a tag team, it only can make their title defenses, albeit somewhat difficult, that much more confident for their abilities.
Well, but with both of them together, I mean, you have a complete total package. You have Van Dam, who is so athletic and energetic and can fly around, flip around the ring, and then you have Kane, who is a big man who can do so many different things. And like you said, they've gelled together after all this time and being together for so long. You know, as they progressed, you know, they gelled more and more, and they're at the point now where they pretty much look like they could hold on to those belts for a while. But like I was saying, La Resistance, you know, their dirty tactics might end up costing them the belts.
All right. Well, Draws, let me ask you this. Considering the fact I wanted to bring a little lightheartedness into this little phone call that we have this week. Certainly, you know, we all take pride in what we do in our craft. You took pride, of course, in the ring. Certainly, you're an asset to us on Bite This and on WWE.com. I certainly enjoy my craft when I go into the ring and do my thing. My question to you is, what did you think of Stone Cold Steve Austin singing America the Beautiful with Lillian Garcia this past Monday and the subsequent beer bash that took place to celebrate Memorial Day?
Well, luckily Steve has the job of being a GM, basically. He doesn't have to worry about singing to him. But I'll tell you what, he actually did a good job, and I like the way Lillian hung him out a couple times and kind of stopped singing to let him continue on. But you know what? I think it was a great sight for everyone out there. Everybody got into it, you know, with La Resistance breaking it up in the beginning, but of course we love to see Austin stun people. But, you know, when they finally got the song going, you had the crowd singing in. It was just a very patriotic, very emotional time, and entertaining, too. I mean, they had a great time out there. And of course, we had Lillian chugging beer with Steve, and that was probably the highlight, seeing that.
What do you think of that, Dr. Tom?
I thought it was great, man. And just for you guys' information, I have a French rifle for sale. It's never been fired, and it's only been dropped once. So, got a good deal for you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're not boycotting French fries, are you?
I'm here all week and try the veal, pal. I don't eat that French fry
I'm
stuff.
behind you, Doc.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, Draws, what can we expect this week in your 2 cents worth on WWE.com?
You know, kind of a roundup, you know, what's been going on, but I've had some things going on here. I actually, a while back, I actually got an electronic fishing reel. I've been out getting out and doing a little fishing on the dock, and so, you know, been doing a few things here and there, so I'm probably going to get that in there this week.
Very good.
Outstanding.
Draws, as always, you are a valued member of Bite This. We appreciate your insight and your commentary on WWE.com, on the 2 cents worth column, and we certainly look forward to having you back here on Bite This next week.
All right, guys, I'll check you out then, and you take care.
Have a good one.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Yes,
That's
bye-bye.
Draws, of course, and his 2 cents worth column appears each and every week on WWE.com. We just want to alert everybody. I know we've been getting some comments that we've been having a few technical problems with our program. We're doing everything we possibly can right now to get this thing up and running 150%, Dr. Tom.
Let me ask you, Howard,
Yes, sir.
what are you doing to get the show up and running 150% right now?
Saying a prayer.
Thank you very much.
for the morning after.
Oh,
Who did that song?
Oh, you were Billy Jack.
That's close enough.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, well, coming up here on Bite This, of course, this week, we still have good old JR, Jim Ross. We're talking about his brand new cookbook hitting the stands very soon. Billy Kidman will be with us, and then the nature boy, Ric Flair. And also, we'll be giving out some JR cookbooks, too, some personally autographed JR cookbooks to some lucky people who answer some trivia questions. Shifting gears for a moment, Tom, we heard some very disturbing and distressing news earlier this week concerning one of the legendary Hall of Famers and one of the true greats in our industry, Classy Freddie Blassie.
Yeah.
We understand that Mr. Blassie is currently in a hospital, and we certainly wish Freddie all the best in his hospital battle right now.
Well, no doubt. I'm that far away from finishing Freddie's book.
Mm-hmm.
And
What a read.
What a read, exactly. And I wish, again, Freddie speedy recovery, and hope to see him back around here soon.
A lot of us had the pleasure of seeing Fred a few weeks ago in Philadelphia when he came down for Raw. We all remember the Devon get the table comment,
Yeah.
and Stone Cold with 3-minute warning. And one of the things that I had the pleasure of talking to Fred's wife, his lovely wife, Miyako. Of course, Freddie is confined in a wheelchair for most of his time now. And I said to Freddie's wife, Miyako, I said, no matter what he does, no matter where he goes in the course of a day, him being here with us is the best medicine he can have.
No doubt.
And there was no question. Freddie's face lit up so many times when he saw a lot of the people from today and yesterday, for that matter.
Well, I always like it when he comes for the Christmas party up in the cafeteria here for the kids,
Mm-hmm.
and he's Santa Claus. He enjoys giving out presents and just being around, as you said, being around this environment, being around the boys, being around what he loves and has done his whole life. And there
Absolutely.
is Classy Freddie Blassie. I first met him in 1980 in Los Angeles, California,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a tremendous asset, and as you said, the one and only Freddie Blassie legend in this business.
Hall of Famer Freddie, we love you. We wish you nothing but the best Godspeed. And I'm sure our audience on Bite This echoes the same sentiments. Best of health, best of luck to Classy Freddie Blassie.
Yes.
Once again, we just want to alert everybody that we are having some technical difficulties for some of you people who are not receiving Bite This. If you can hear us and not see us, or see us and not hear us, or a combination of both, we're making every effort possible to get ourselves righted up and make you guys enjoy the show in totality.
Well, last week we had this problem where we were in the dark and we had no video, and of course that just happened when Josh was here. But when you came, I figured everything was going to happen and work perfectly.
I know.
Yeah, I know too.
And unfortunately it didn't. While we're waiting for JR, there's a couple of other things we want to talk about, and we want to direct this, if you can hear us, to those people in the military. Of course, this coming Monday night in San Diego, we have Raw at the Sports Arena.
Yes.
And of course, how well we know that San Diego is one of the key military cities in our country. And if you are watching or hearing us from the greater San Diego area and you're in our great military, and if you come to the Sports Arena to see Raw this Monday night in full uniform, you get in for free.
Ha, man!
That is a pretty good offer.
That is a pretty good offer.
And then if you go to, if you military people are on WWE.com, actually badblood.com, didn't Stone Cold Steve Austin make some sort of a pronouncement about our troops can see Bad Blood for free?
Yes, go to Stone Cold.
It's badblood.com.
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 Yes. Stone Cold Presents Badblood.com, I believe.
With Eric Bischoff.
With Eric Bischoff. And of course, you can find out all the details. And again, you will get to view the pay-per-view for free, I believe.
It's going to be terrific.
Yeah.
Really is. Shifting gears a little bit, Tom, we have the other night I was, of course, in Mobile, Alabama, and I got to see an individual who was also in Pensacola. It was his first visit to WWE, came from Japan. Name is the Ultimo Dragon.
Wow.
Light heavyweight extraordinaire.
Yes.
Moves upon moves upon moves. A very distinguished gentleman. I had the pleasure of meeting him for the first time backstage. Very traditionalistic, very, very, very strong in his beliefs, in and out of the squared circle. And when he made his debut, he got a smattering of applause from the fans for those people that knew him. And as time went on, I think he wowed the fans with his moves. And I'm not sure if Ultimo's going to be going to the Raw or the SmackDown group. I know bidding is out right now for this person. Certainly, if he goes to SmackDown, the cruiserweights would benefit from it, and he would benefit as well. Have you seen him, Tom?
I've seen him before when he wrestled in WCW. I've seen magazine pictures from Japan. I've heard of his reputation. I've never met him personally, but obviously, I think that this guy, as everyone in World Wrestling Entertainment or everyone who comes from somewhere else, would love to be here in WWE and make a name for themselves. Ultimo Dragon is no different than anybody else, and to come over here, over to sail over the big pond and make it huge here, then I think it'll be a great thing.
And, you know, Ultimo Dragon, should he go with the SmackDown group, will certainly be a force to be reckoned with in the cruiserweight division. And speaking of forces to be reckoned with, we have a former cruiserweight champion about ready to join us on Bite This. And he's been absent from the SmackDown scene for about 2.5 months. And we welcome to Bite This Billy Kidman. Billy, it's Howard with Dr. Tom. How you feeling? How you doing?
I feel great, guys. How you guys doing?
Very
well. Well, welcome to Bite This. And certainly, Billy, time has ticked by very quickly, and no Billy Kidman. Certainly, I'd like you to bring us up to speed and our Bite This viewers as to what happened, what's been going on, and where are we going now?
Basically, what happened was I did the Shooting Star, and my last match there was back in Pittsburgh against Team Angle. And when I did the Shooting Star, my foot hooked the rope on the way down, which caused me to kind of, go a little head first into the mat. My arm was extended, and when I landed on Charlie Haas, and it kind of popped my shoulder out. So basically it was as close to a dislocation as you can get without actually dislocating it. And so I've been home. I've been doing some therapy on my shoulder, trying to get better and get back, and I'm ready to roll now.
Well, I understand you got official clearance yesterday.
Yes, I did.
Which is terrific, and for those people who certainly enjoy seeing the native of Allentown, Pennsylvania in action, it's not that far away. Billy, certainly one of the things I like to ask people who are on the shelf or have been injured or ill, and I know Dr. Tom concurs with this, is you get to be an armchair quarterback. You get to sit back and you can be the world's best critic watching SmackDown and maybe watching Raw as well.
Right.
Two-part question. When you're home and when you watch the WWE programming, do you get itchy? And secondly, are you a very good critic of the product and by the same token maybe praise the product as well?
Well, I guess everybody has their own opinion, so what I think is good, somebody else might not. What I think is bad, somebody else might not. But I try to be unbiased. It's hard to be unbiased when you're there and you're involved. But I do like to watch a show. I like not knowing what's going to happen, which you lose that when you're there behind the scenes. You know pretty much everything that's going to happen. So it's great to be home and watch it. That way you can actually go back to the way it used to be before I got involved in the business. And I get the itch when I see something really good. It's hard to watch something really good and go, man, you just want to be there. And then if I see something that I wasn't too fond of, it's like, well, kind of glad I wasn't there for that. So it kind of goes both ways.
Yeah, well, Billy, everybody who comes off the injured reserve list usually heads down to OVW and has a chance to work with some of the developmental guys, all the developmental guys down there, and get some of the ring rust off. Last night, two guys from OVW debuted in the Basham Brothers, Danny and Doug Basham. Did you get a chance to see SmackDown?
Yes, I did.
Your impressions of those two guys?
I have worked Doug before, actually.
You've worked Doug?
Yes, I have worked Doug before.
Okay.
And I think they have a lot of potential. I like the team. I like their look. I've never wrestled Danny. I haven't got to see much about him.
Yeah.
But I do know Doug, and I know Doug. His in-ring work is very good. So it's just a matter of them getting to show their stuff, I think. But I'm happy for them that they got the call.
Well, we're looking forward to sending you down there for a couple weeks at least to try and get in the ring and get some of that ring rust off. And I've got to ask you, switching back to the Shooting Star press you talked about, is that something that you try again? And what would you think? What did you think about Brock Lesnar doing it at WrestleMania and the way he landed?
Good question.
Well, yes, I would do it again because I actually have landed I've done this before, way back in WCW. Actually, it was at a charity show, and I did the same thing. I hit the rope on the way down, and I pulled my groin and strained my rotator cuff all in the same time.
Brutal.
But so I mean, it wasn't. If I would have landed like Brock, it would have been a different story. I've done some things where I flipped and landed back on the ropes, and it really jars you mentally. But I've been doing it for so long, I know I'm still physically capable of doing it. It's just a matter of getting over the mental hump. As far as Brock Lesnar doing it, to be honest with you, I thought it was quite disrespectful. Because, I mean, yeah, he's a world champ, and now he is, you know, and, you know, he's in the upper echelon. But the bottom line is there's a code of ethics that's, you know, it's just, you just don't take other people's moves, especially finishing moves. Mm-hmm. I'm glad he's okay. Don't get me wrong. I don't wish injury upon anybody. But, you know, basically I could go out there and F5 pretty much anybody. That's not a move that's impossible to do. But would I do it? No, because it's just a sign of respect.
Understood.
You know, anybody could choke slam somebody. Anybody could rock bottom somebody, but nobody does it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
fair point.
Well, were you aware that Brock had done this many times before in OVW?
Yes, okay. I heard all about it. I heard it looked phenomenal. Actually, from what I saw at WrestleMania, was the only time I got to see him do it.
Right.
It looked like it would be a beautiful-looking move.
Okay.
Billy, if somebody in the Raw group did it, what would be your feelings?
That's kind of, I mean, the same company, but technically different show. So there's not much, you know, to say about that. Like, as far as, you know, one thing I remember is when I first started in WCW, you know, the Shooting Star is basically the move that got me noticed, as far as getting the job and getting recognition from fans. And when I was down at the power plant, Mark Merrill had approached me and asked me about doing that move. He said, well, what do you think about me doing it? And I basically told him flat out that, you know, it's basically the move that I got noticed with, and I would rather he didn't. You know, being pretty new, I didn't really know what to say. But he was respectful of that, and he never did it until he went up to WWE, and then he started doing it there. And, you know, that was fine. I mean, I appreciated the fact that he, you know, he listened to me and respected enough not to do it. And, you know, when I saw him do it in WWE, there's, you know, you can't say anything about that really. But as far as Brock doing it, same show, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, not much you can do about it, I guess.
I guess not. Have you stayed in touch with any of your fellow cohorts over your injury period? Misery loves company to a point. Anybody injured that you've talked to, or any talents just to get some encouragement back and forth?
I stay in touch with Canyon a lot. He just did move down to Clearwater.
So I understand.
So, you know, I've always been good friends with him, and we always stay in touch regardless of what's going on. So he's somebody. I've talked to Edge a couple times, but I haven't talked to too many people, actually.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, I was just going to say, how we know that there's a big event coming up next, I guess, 3 weeks, something like that. And lately, Tori's been on the road. You've been at home nursing the injury, but you want to let us know what's going to happen in the next 3 weeks?
Yeah, coming up down the line, myself and Tori are getting married. I know that just turned me into the biggest heel there is right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're getting married in July, and looking forward to it. Actually, today we were just planning our honeymoon. So.
Very nice.
Well, we're not going to ask where you're going because that's classified information.
One thing, go ahead.
No, please.
I was going to say one thing I would like to ask you, Billy. We asked Tori when she was on Bite This how you felt about the Playboy issue that came out, and wanted straight from the horse's mouth. How do you deal with that, man? Are you pretty cool, or what?
Yeah, you know, to be honest with you, I didn't know how I was going to feel. The whole point of it, you know, was for exposure, and I guess in more ways than one. Yeah. But you know, I knew it was good for her career. I knew, you know, you don't get that chance very often. But I also knew that when it came out, I may feel different. But then when it came out, when I saw, actually, I mean, the Playboy people are super cool as far as making her feel comfortable, and then, you know, she had final say in whatever pictures went in and didn't go in. So I was actually there with her when she was picking the pictures out, so I got to see ahead of time. And then when I saw the magazine and what they decided to use, and I thought it was done really well, and I was actually surprised at how well I handled it, because it wasn't as hard to deal with as I thought it was going to be.
Absolutely. Right. Billy, when you make your return to the rings of WWE, and more specifically SmackDown, of course, when you left, you were pretty hot and heavy within the cruiserweight division.
Yep.
So now my question to you is, when you come back, if you have any say-so, do you still want to try and get that cruiserweight championship belt back, or would you try to pursue other avenues in SmackDown, which could lead to bigger and better things?
Well, basically, the one thing I don't like is being classified as just a cruiserweight.
Understood.
I like to be able to do whatever, because I feel I could work with some bigger guys as well, and put some good matches in there. But at the same time, I understand that I am a cruiserweight, and I always am looking for the cruiserweight gold. So, whether it's Matt Hardy who has it, or Rey Mysterio, or Ultimo Dragon, if he shows up on our show, then, I look to take on whoever's got the belt.
Real quickly, what do you think of Ultimo Dragon? Should he go to SmackDown? Now, he was at our events this past Monday and Tuesday each night. I had the pleasure of seeing him for the very first time in person, a very distinguished gentleman, Billy, and a very respectful gentleman. And he certainly impressed me. I mean, he was quick. He was nervous. Let's not make any mistake about it. But he was quick. He was fast. He had the next move ready before the one was completed.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on Dragon? Because I know you know him.
Yeah, I do know him, and I've worked with him a few times back in WCW, and I definitely hope he is on SmackDown, because his style is that of a cruiserweight, and I think there will be some great matches between me and Dragon, between Rey Mysterio and Dragon, between Jamie Noble and Dragon. I mean, there's so many people there for him to work with that would complement his style. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it.
Wait a minute. Just taking a look at Tom, Billy. I thought for a moment you were the Ultimo Dragon. You look familiar.
Yeah?
I thought you were the Ultimo Dragon, Tom.
What are you smoking?
Winston's?
Yeah, you have any more?
No.
You have any? What are you taking then?
Vitamins?
Hey, Billy, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Speaking of vitamins, by the way, in WCW, I believe you had a few matches with Hulk Hogan.
Yes, I did.
And I can only imagine what it's like to step across and look on the other corner and see someone like Hogan. Of course, we found out last night that Mr. America is not.
You're right.
He is not Hulk Hogan.
The lie detector doesn't lie.
It doesn't lie.
We
But
also found out some very interesting things about Vince McMahon in that
Did
thing.
we
yes,
not?
sir, you did. But I guess my question is, would you, maybe it's an obvious question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Would you look forward to a Mr. America versus Billy Kidman feud or program or type of match?
I definitely would, and reason being is, I mean, thinking back to when I got to wrestle Hulk Hogan, I grew up on the product. I grew up on Hulk Hogan, so to be in there, I've been very lucky in my career to be able. I wrestled Randy Savage, I wrestled Ric Flair, Diamond Dallas Page. I wrestled a lot of the top guys, a lot of the legends, but to be involved in a whole program with Hulk Hogan, I mean, it was phenomenal. And although we have two totally different styles, I mean, for me to be able to look back and say that I wrestled Hulk Hogan, and by the way, I believe I'm the only cruiserweight in history to ever to pin Hulk Hogan.
Oh.
That is a fact, a Finkel fact, perhaps, yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, being that Mr. America and Hulk Hogan have very similar styles, I think I might be custom-made to take on Mr. America.
Very nice.
It'll be very interesting. Well, Billy, we want to thank you for joining us here on Bite This week. The most important thing is we're delighted that your return to WWE SmackDown rings is imminent. Go to Louisville and just, tune up a little bit, freshen up, season up, and when you come back, you folks are really going to be in for another treat, because Billy Kidman, when he steps into that squared circle, gives you action upon action upon action. And Billy, final question.
Yes.
First time you have a chance to use a shooting star, what's going to go through your mind?
Nothing. Or else if I think about it, I'm going to mess it up.
Good move.
So I'll have to stay blank.
All right, Billy, all the best, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Be good.
All right,
Bye-bye. Billy Kidman, and there's a guy who always gives 150%, and he's a tremendous talent.
Looking forward to seeing Billy in the OVW rings, shaking some of that ring rust off, getting back in shape, and then watch him come right back up the ranks and start back where he left off.
I want to talk to you about OVW in a little bit. Are you kind of hungry right now?
What are you trying to say?
Well, I mean, are you in the mood for some barbecue?
Why not?
Are you in the mood for...
I am in the mood for barbecue anytime, as long as I have some of that good old JR's barbecue
There is
sauce.
nothing like us. And I'll tell you what, I think he's imminent to come on the program right now, and we're going to be talking about the JR cookbook that's coming out. Let me get this cookbook right here in front of me, And let's show our camera. I don't know which one's going to focus in on it. This one right here. Okay,
blue. Very
there we
nice.
go.
Nice
It's blue.
screen.
Yes, it's
Yes,
going
sir.
to
It's
it's
a
going to
blue
look
screen.
good.
Lead
But
right through.
This is the brand spanking new cookbook. This is JR's brand new cookbook, which is certainly well worth not only the read, but well worth the effort to make some of these marvelous recipes that JR and his lovely wife Jan have come up with. And certainly it's an excellent book. And right now, I believe joining us on the phone is the author of the JR cookbook, good old JR, Jim Ross. Jim, it's Howard and Dr. Tom. Welcome to Bite This.
How are you boys doing today? You staying out of trouble?
We're trying.
Yes, sir. I'm doing my best to stay out of trouble. I haven't been here all week, so when you're gone, you don't have a chance to get into
Well, I
much
tell you
trouble.
what, Dr. Tom and Howard, what a pair to draw to.
Let me tell you, doesn't get much better than that.
JR, kudos to you. Big time kudos on the release of JR's cookbook. This is the second edition, for lack of a better term. I know a lot of care, painstaking effort, and a lot of love went into the preparation of this.
Well, it sure did, Howard. We had a lot of warm memories writing that cookbook, and a lot of the recipes come out of from my mother and my grandmother, and it's that's where the country cooking comes into play. And then we talk about a lot of different recipes that guys would like to do that are simple and not intimidating and too involved on the grill. And then, of course, Tommy, being a native Texan, knows the difference between barbecuing and grilling.
Correct.
And we try to simplify that to guy language. So it's an interesting book in that regard, I think. And we got a lot of top 10 lists and stories from the road, from my career, and first one thing and another. So I think our fans are probably watching Bite This are going to be, I think, more interested in the stories than they are the recipes. But their moms or their girlfriends might be more interested in the recipes.
Well, exactly. It's much more than a cookbook. And JR, certainly one of the beauties about something that you're very proud of and very happy about releasing is you get now to go across this great country of ours and internationally as well to herald the merits of this excellent release. Last week, if I can just tell you, here locally, a brand new store opened up in our area, Walmart, and good old JR was there signing autographs, and the barbecue sauce was sampled, the hot sauce was sampled, and the books were flying off the shelves. JR, I guess that's what it's going to take, other than word of mouth, of course, to make this thing gel. And I know you've got a very hectic schedule coming up very soon to promote this book.
Yeah, I'm sure going to be busy. I seem like I'm staying awful busy these days, and it keeps me out of mischief, so as my mom would say. So I'm going to be doing a signing Monday, coming up, I'm going to be doing radio Monday and Tuesday mornings. I'm going to be going down and doing signings down in the Miami, Florida area. The day we do Raw there, I think that's on the 9th. The next day I'm going to be doing signings in Orlando. I'm going to be doing Bubba the Love Sponge radio show on the Wednesday after that, live in the studio, which should be an adventure. And I'm doing a signing in Tulsa on Friday the 13th, which I hope is not an omen, at a Walmart there in Tulsa. So, I've been shopping at Walmart longer than just about as long as I've been a wrestling fan, which has been all my life. So I'm looking forward to seeing all the fans. It's the best market research that you can get when you can look the fans in the eye and you shake their hand and you personalize their book and they tell you how they feel about the product or what they like or they don't like, or it's just it's a real good experience. It takes me right back to my roots where I ought to be.
JR, I've also heard some rumblings that you quite possibly are going to be on the Food Network, which would be a tremendous feather in your cap.
Yeah, I'm going to be. I did a Food Network special with some other folks that endorse food products, guys like Sammy Hagar and some fellow from Aerosmith.
Steven Tyler?
Joe Perry.
Yeah,
Joe
sure.
Perry.
Yeah, Alice Cooper, Willie Nelson.
What an eclectic bunch.
Quite a group, and myself, and I'm cooking salmon and barbecued beans and asparagus on that show, and it airs on the Food Network in the States on Tuesday, June 17th, which is the Tuesday following Bad Blood, which is in Houston on the 15th. So I hope folks will tune in, and I think I was told today that we have a shot at doing a cooking episode on Regis and Kelly and sometime later on in June. So we got a lot of good things planned and doing a lot of signings, and we'll be doing a lot of signings in the New York area about the time we're here doing Raw and SmackDown. So I'm looking forward to all those signings. They're always fun.
Well, obviously, you're very proud of the cookbook, and my wife is going to be picking some of the recipe. Yeah, sure. But a lot of people have been asking, when is JR going to come out with an autobiography? Is that in the works by any chance that you would tell? I know some of the stories you have in this cookbook talk about the past, but when are we going to get an autobiography in Dish the Dirt?
Well, I'd like to be I've had several talks with Simon & Schuster about it, and Dennis Brent and Stone Cold and I are just finishing up Stone Cold's autobiography. We'll have that done and turned into Simon & Schuster by Monday, and it'll be out in the shelves in November for a holiday release. Mm-hmm. And it really is an open look at Stone Cold like nobody's ever seen or heard before, in his words. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to write an autobiography, but I think it's probably going to be a year from now, certainly within the next 2 years. It's on the drawing board, and they've asked me to do one. It's just a matter of carving out the time and being able to make time with the talent relations responsibilities and working on Raw and pay-per-views, and I got to work in my Oklahoma football games this fall, so I got to have all the priorities have got to be in place,
Right.
Jim, no pun intended. Your plate is full without question. If I can shift gears for a moment, give us the state of Jim Ross's perception of how WWE is these days from a standpoint of the events. I know tomorrow night, Portland, Oregon, we're coming back to Portland after 10 years at the Rose Garden Arena. It's going to be electric there tomorrow night. A huge crowd is expected. Give us your JR state of the mind about WWE, where you think we're going, the talent influx, what is going to be happening in your eyes?
Well, Howard and Tom, I try to live my life because of the schedule I keep and the challenges that we face in business. And, I'm a new grandfather, and I got lots of, interesting things happening in my personal life with the books and so forth. I try to look at the glass always being half full, and I just have better mental health by doing that. I spent part of my career looking at it half empty, I think, and working in controversial situations. But I think I look at our situation very positively. The economy overall in our country is soft, and we've reprioritized a lot of things that are important to us, like war and feeding our families and things of that nature. So we've got to work through those issues like every other business. We've got to continue to develop new wrestlers and new characters. I like the fact that we had some new kids from the OVW group that, got to participate in our house shows last weekend, and some of them are making television already, and I think that's very positive. So I'm happy with where we are. Can we do better? Of course. Are some Raws, for example, better than others? Absolutely. But this group of people are trying to work hard, and I wouldn't want to be on that creative team because they have a thankless job, because it seems like no matter how hard they work or how well they write a show, it's seemingly picked apart, and we all have that propensity on Monday morning to be quarterbacking, or Tuesday morning in this case. So, I'm pleased with where we are. I hope business gets better, and I have every reason to believe that it will. And I think that we just got to get some guys healthy, and we've got to get some young guys to realize that there's opportunity. I hear about the glass ceiling and everybody being held back, and I really think that's just a lame excuse by a lot of folks. I've used that excuse personally myself. Being held back. I'm not the number one announcer in the WWE. Vince McMahon was, and Gorilla Monsoon was number 2. Well, if you love the game enough and you have enough confidence in your ability, you just keep plugging away and trying to do good work, and hopefully it gets noticed. And I'm telling you, I truly believe that more often than not, hard work does get noticed, and the young kids just got to stay positive and and keep getting better at what they do and telling better stories and taking less unnecessary risk in the ring. And we get a few of these key guys healthy, and some of these new kids catch on. I kind of like our chances. I think we've got to get younger, but that's like, I think any NFL guy would tell you the same thing, or an NBA guy, or even somebody on Broadway. You got to develop young stars, and that's what our challenge is.
Well, one thing I just saw in your book here, the top 10 things WWE looks for in a young wrestler. Number one is passion for the product, and I think that's pretty much a requirement for anybody who wants to make it to the top. And WWE, and of course, guys like Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold, and our guest on our show today, Ric Flair, all have that passion for the business, as do you. And I want to wish you all the best of luck on your book tour all over the country. I know you're going to get a big turnout, and I can't wait to hear the stories and read your autobiography in about a year, JR.
Well, I hope it'll be entertaining. I sure have had some unique experiences from starting out in the 70s for Leroy McGurk, and working for Cowboy Bill Watts, and working for Jim Crockett, and working for Ted Turner, and working with Ole Anderson and Dusty Rhodes and the Kip Frys and Jim Hurds and the Jack Petricks, and then coming to work for Vince McMahon, and that's been an adventure in itself, and just a never a dull day. So a lot of unique experiences with bosses and with talent and with road trips and with territories and going national and then going international. It's been I really feel blessed. I came along at the right place at the right time, and I'm still a fan at heart, and the day that I stop being a fan is the day that I'll say, next week somebody will be sitting in this chair, because I wouldn't want to take up space. And as long as I'm not taking up space, well, it's a good day. It's a good day when you're upright and breathing.
If I can just coin a phrase, JR, to wrap this up, taking a little bit of a play on words from a very popular show on a cable network, we're in the best damn business, period.
Oh, yeah, we love it, Howard, and it's and I know our fans love it, and I know that's why they're passionate about what they write and their feedback, and they want things to be perfect. But you're dealing with human beings, and you're doing live television, and it's just inevitable that some weeks are going to be better than others, and all we can do is strive to be better this Monday than we were last Monday, and so forth and so on, and on goes the story. So I'll look forward to seeing the fans, and I hope the folks just drop by the local bookstore, and even if you don't buy the book, thumb through it and read some of the stories. I think you'll get a kick out of them, and it takes you back into some of the heritage of our business, some memories of some guys that meant a lot to me personally, and some stories that they've never heard before. A lot of unique pictures, and you'll even see what old JR looks like with a $3 haircut and the 12th grade in high school. So. But don't let that turn you away.
No problem. JR, that book is going to be great. And just as an offshoot, Tom and I will both concur, the barbecue sauce absolutely kicks serious butt.
Well, the barbecue sauce is available on Shop Zone and
the hot sauce.
Right there on the hot sauce as well. And it's available all over a lot of good stores in Canada, and there's some Walmarts carrying it. So, and if your store doesn't have it, ask for it. Maybe they'll help them get us on the shelf.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate the fans have always been supportive of everything I've ever done, and for that I'm eternally grateful, and I hope that they will continue and at least check the book out and get ready for that Stone Cold book this fall, because it's going to be a dandy.
JR, just to wrap this up from our chat room, somebody by the name of HW Tableboy says, JR, you're one of the reasons I watch Raw. Know that. We love you. Everybody does. Enough said.
Well, I appreciate that, and I love those fans too. They make it all happen. No matter how bad a day I've had, or how many challenges I've had, or problems I've listened to from a talent on a talent relations side, when that music plays, that Boomer Sooner plays, and those fans know that the show's about to start, all is right with the world as far as I'm concerned.
No kidding. JR, thanks much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you at Raw this Monday in San Diego, and tremendous luck and success with the book and with the barbecue and hot sauces.
I appreciate it. You guys have a great day, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, JR. Bye-bye. Wow.
Slobber knocker salmon.
That looks pretty.
That is mine, man.
You going to have that for dinner tonight?
Not tonight.
Show the cookbook, Dr. Tom, because we want to give one away. Personally autographed cookbook of JR. We're going to ask you guys to send in your responses at bitethis@wwe.com. All correct answers will be put in a pool, and the one that is pulled out will get their own personally autographed copy of JR's cookbook. And being that it's JR, we're going to make this very easy so America and the world can have a chance. Here's your question. It's very simple. What WrestleMania did JR, good old JR, make his debut at? Once again, what WrestleMania did good old JR make his debut at? You've got 19 choices. The odds are pretty good. There's the cookbook. Bite this at WWE.com. All correct answers are pooled. We'll pull one out, and that person, he or she, will get, or it will get, a personally autographed JR cookbook. I know you're pocketing that and taking that home.
You aren't kidding, man. Let me show you the. Let me show you the salmon, man. Hold on.
How many? Excuse me, Tom.
whoa.
But how many recipes of ribs are there?
There's quite a few. Hang on. Let me
Do
show
you like to rib?
I don't rib and I don't like to rib. Well, look at this salmon.
Get a shot at this, please.
Get this, man.
Arno, get a
This
shot
one
of this
here,
if you
man.
would. There
Right
you go.
there. Check that out.
Look at
Wait, I
that.
got it.
And that's called what?
That is slobber knocker salmon.
Slobber knocker salmon.
That is mine right there. That will be, yes, my wife is fixing that.
That's
That'll
terrific.
be over the weekend. Thank you very much.
All righty. Well, that's
Yeah.
great. The chat room is active, of course. 888 Live WWE, where we really got a lot of good things going here. We're going to be joined momentarily by the one and only Nature Boy Ric Flair. We're looking forward to having Rick on the show. And Dr. Tom, as I mentioned earlier, tomorrow night I am heading to Portland, Oregon. And it's been 10 long years since WWE has been at Portland, and the Rose Garden has been built since then. And we are coming back, and I can tell you right now, I just saw exactly where we stand tomorrow. We have a legitimate chance of selling the joint out.
Outstanding. Portland is an old stomping ground of my own. And, of course, Portland was a place where I had the opportunity to wrestle. Only twice, but I got the opportunity to step in the ring and actually compete against our guest, Ric Flair.
Well, that's very interesting.
It is
because
very interesting.
Funny you mentioned that. On the phone with us right now, what can you say except Nature Boy Ric Flair? Rick, it's Howard with Dr. Tom. Thanks for taking some time, and welcome to Bite This.
Sir?
Very good, sir. How are you, sir?
Good. What's going on, guys?
We're here talking to you, man. It's
Is it any surprise that we're going to be sold out tomorrow night? Hey, it's the WWE, man. It's Raw.
That's it. You got
We're
it.
sold out everywhere, aren't we?
Yep. You got some memories of Portland, Oregon, Rick?
Many. And I actually did a drive time talk show yesterday. I started going to Portland in 1981 as the NWA champion and worked for a fellow by the name of Don Owen, who is
Of course.
one of the classics of all time. A great payoff guy, great guy to work for in terms of taking care of people. And it was actually a territory as small as it was where people, moved in and planned on staying for a while. He was that kind of a guy, and he was just a very honest, sincere gentleman and very well respected in our industry.
Just by listening to Rick's opening statement, one of the things that I can tell right off the bat, you hear the enthusiasm, do you hear the zest, do you hear the attitude? Rick, we have a very interesting story we'd like you to tell before we get into some basics here. Of course, you and I talked last week a little bit in Bossier City, Louisiana, and I had the pleasure of sharing a car ride with you. And one of the things that you talked about is how you've got your energy, how you've got your focus back in this industry. Give us a little bit of a synopsis, if you will, of what made the curtain almost come down on you, and now why you're flying high.
Well, that's a very. Are you sure you want me to be that personal?
Yeah.
I mean, I have no problem with it, but I just about 6 or 7 years ago ran into a stumbling block that I thought that I was immune to stuff like that, but I actually got myself in a position with a company, no secret being WCW, where I found myself very conveniently being taken for granted, and as if I was just a new guy that had just started the business and hadn't attained any stature or any recognition or any respect, most of all. So I just, after a period of time, it just wore me out and wore me down. And, I got to the point where, which is very hard to believe, that I really did not enjoy the business. And anybody that knows me, and certainly Tom knows me, probably the best of the group there, and I love this business with a passion. I attacked it. I went after it. I loved it. I lived it, and literally lived it. If I said it on TV, I was doing it that night. From wrestling to whatever else I said. I mean, I love the business. I never looked at it as being a job. I never looked at it as being hard. I looked at it as being something that I had a passion for, loved, and had respect for. And I just couldn't say anything bad about it. I'm sure there were guys along the way that I might not have cared for, but I could get along with anybody, and I could wrestle with anybody on any given night, anywhere in the world. And somehow that got lost, and I lost it in myself, and I lost it in my behavior and my attitude, and most of all, I lost it in the way I conducted myself as a man, in our industry. And it's a very sad. I can discuss it now. Before it was a very, very difficult thing to talk about, but it's behind me now. I feel like I'm back where I was.
Rick, where did you find yourself?
You mean how did I find myself?
How did you find yourself? For lack of a better term, being born again.
I just decided one day that I had two boys, one being 23 at the time, the other one being 14, that I had two boys that I was trying to raise, and one of them, grown, but still very influenced by the way I conducted myself and very influenced by this business, and I decided one day that I needed to wake up and as Arn Anderson would say, get at myself and lead and show my sons by the way I conducted myself each and every day what I thought was the right way for them to grow up, and hopefully for the way that they would carry themselves in later life.
Mm-hmm. Rick,
for lack of a better term,
yeah,
I snapped one day.
That's
cool.
Hey, who hasn't?
We all have. Go ahead.
Who hasn't? Hey, Rick, are you an internet guy? Do you go on the internet at all?
No, I don't. I'm embarrassed to tell you guys I can't turn one on.
Exactly. That's a cool thing, no problem. But
yeah,
I don't know if you're aware of it or not. But after a couple weeks ago, after the tremendous match you had with Triple H, and everything cut and the camera stopped rolling on TNN. The cameras actually did keep rolling, and I got to see the tape of the aftermath.
Oh.
And with the emotion
Wow.
and the true feeling and the sincerity that filled the ring that night after the match seemed to carry on the internet and through the rest of the boys who have websites as well and so on. Every time I go to Louisville, and every time I see the developmental talent we have who happen to go on the road with us, and the guys that went on the road this past week talked about how they were in there with Ric Flair and Triple H and the guys helping them get better before the matches. And I always tell the guys about a guy who is 16-time world champion who is still humble, will shake everybody's hand in the locker room, and wants to do what's best for this business and the future of the business. That's the reputation you have. That's the reputation you've always had with the guys and the boys through the ranks. And I think after this pouring out of sincerity in the ring, after you had this tremendous match with Triple H, hopefully, and with the speech that you said, I think you found this out, but hopefully now you do realize there is no other than Ric Flair. There's only one Ric Flair, and you are the man to so many people in this business that came after you and look up to you still to this day, and they respect the fact that you respect them back and want to help them.
Well, I think I knew that there were people but I lost sight of that. I mean, as impossible as that is for people to understand, and I'm sure that I don't want anybody to lose any sleep over, but I lost total sight of that, and that's why it's been very emotional for me. These last 2 weeks, I just told someone a half hour ago, and I've certainly discussed it with my son, David. Unfortunate tragedies that have happened have nothing to do with pro wrestling. It's individual choice.
Right.
Very
how
fair.
You conduct yourself and how you conduct yourself as a man, as an individual, as a leader, and I'm going to be a lot more positive and a lot more helpful to the guys now that I feel sincerely as though they want me to help. And it's not
No
that I
doubt.
ever doubted they didn't, but it's in a tough position to be in the field, as we are as wrestlers, and then trying to help guys learn how to, enhance their performance. Sometimes that can be misconstrued, and it's all the difference with the WWE, which has always been the case for me, is that, if it comes out of Vince's mouth, it's as good as gold. And if he tells you, hey, I want this done, you know, you don't look any further. I mean, there might be question marks and little roadblocks that have to be worked out. But if he says to me, "I want you to help these guys," well, that's all I need to hear. In this case, I told him, I said, I don't know if I can help. He told me that a year ago, because I didn't feel it. I didn't feel like I was in a position to. Now I do, and it's a big hurdle that I got over, and I mean, I can't tell you how big it is. I'm just, you know, I feel like I'm 25 years old again, and I'm not sure if that's good. How about that, Tom? I'm not sure the business can handle that.
Well,
my.
Actually, I think they need that again, man.
So do I.
I do think they need that again.
Rick,
my wife keeps telling me that ain't going to happen, so I don't know.
Rick, we want to talk about your match in just a few moments against Shawn Michaels, which, in my estimation, is going to be a dream match come true at Bad Blood, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you did mention Vince. You mentioned WWE. While you were talking about your feelings, we showed footage of your first championship win in the then WWF when you won the Royal Rumble back in 1991. Make that 92. Excuse me, the early part of 92. And you were with us at that first time for just a little bit around a year, and then you went back to WCW. Question I want to ask you, putting business aside and contracts and all the bureaucracy, did you ever want to leave the company at that point when you first joined us and then left? Did you ever want to leave? And now that you have come back and there's only one company now, what are your thoughts overall?
Well, first of all, that year that I spent with you guys, I've told a lot of people that was probably the most exciting, fun year I ever had in my life, and that's saying a lot because I had a lot of fun in the 80s with the Horsemen, but I mean, I was, you know, and I can go down the list from Kurt Hennig to Roddy Piper to Hulk. I mean, the whole crew was just phenomenal. It was a great bunch of guys. The Road Warriors were there. I mean, just a great bunch of guys. I mean, Undertaker was, that's phenomenal. Just a great bunch of guys. And I had
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we shook hands and away I went. And I mean, you know, and it left on a high note and came back on a high note. I just didn't realize I lost sight coming back this time, and that's one of the big regrets I've had, is that I was not able to perform from the day I got here a year and 4 months ago. I wasn't able to let go and perform and be comfortable with myself and the guys that were here. Not because nobody's fault but my own. Now I feel like I'm back with it and getting better every day, and I hope, you mentioned earlier, I hope that on the 15th of June, I can turn it back a couple more years and give Shawn Michaels what he deserves. And that's a great match, because he's a great, great, great professional wrestler.
Absolutely.
Well, Rick, you have to, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm going to ask you anyway. When you went into a different territory, it was up to the world champion at that time to take the local top guy and give him a world championship match that the fans would believe in, and the top guy would remain in that territory and be even stronger. And I think just by the fact that you've held the title 16 different occasions, every territory you went into, you never slacked it, you never called it in. It seems like you always made that guy, no matter who it was. And with Triple H, the match you had a couple weeks ago as well, you felt it. It looked like you felt it, and you can tell when somebody is real in the ring, and that to me was the most a real moment. Howard and I actually watched it, the aftermath in the office, and that is what the business is about. And again, this is the perfect era, and you're in I think the perfect position right now to help the younger guys. You are the man who has been everywhere, and you are the man who's done it all, but yet you have that knowledge to pass on to the younger talent like the Batistas, the Ortons, the Triple H's, and I think Shawn Michaels at Bad Blood is going to be the thrill of his career as well.
Well, it's a wonderful time. I mean, who would have ever thought that I would be, number one is feeling as well as I do physically, because I feel great. I've still got to work on some cosmetic issues, but
yeah,
I don't know if I can ever make those go away, but. I mean, the big thing about anything that you're good at or want to be good at, you've got to feel good about it mentally. Yeah. And if you feel good about it mentally, then and your heart's in it, man, you can make anything happen, no matter what you do for a living. And in this case, you know, it's wrestling and it's physical and it's contact, and you really got to be in the groove. And what I lost was not only my heart a little bit, I lost the ability to go out there and think. And you know, Tom, to go out there and night after night, it becomes automatic. You don't. There's no pause, and you become like a machine.
Right.
Bing, 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 and you feed off the crowd, and you feed off their energy, and you feed off your opponent's weaknesses and strengths, and you enhance them, and just, you know, it's like making music. It's like leading an orchestra. And you know, I lost that too, but I'm starting to feel more comfortable. And the thing that I hope everybody understands is that Triple H wrestled me the other night the way that I've wrestled guys my entire life. All he did was make Ric Flair look good for 8 minutes.
Right.
That's what he did.
Right.
I mean, and that's what I hope that I'm remembered for in this business, if nothing else, is that I was able to go out and enhance somebody else's career, because that's, you know, that's what the business is about. You can be good at what you do, or you can be great at what you do, and it's just that short period of time that you have with someone else. You know, they hand you the ingredients, and it's up to you as an individual to make the ingredients come together and work.
No question.
Sometimes the ingredients aren't the right ones. You still got to make it work.
Well, with all the ingredients that you've put into your career over the years, Rick, you know, earlier we had Jim Ross, JR, on, and JR, Tom asked him about an autobiography, and it seems that everybody who has been in this business, albeit current or past, and you're certainly very current, will have an inkling at some point in time to do something. And obviously, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, many, many years at the top of his game. What is, if anything, on the table for a possible book?
Well, it'll be done and open. It'll be done and out March 1st.
Great.
All right.
That's the last I've heard. And now it officially, I'm working with Simon & Schuster, and the contracts have been turned around, and they're looking for an author right now. I'm not allowed to say who it is, but they're in touch with them, and I think it'll be finalized this week, and they're hoping to get it published in time for WrestleMania. So I'm real excited.
Rick,
about it.
this book's going to pull no punches, right?
Pull no punches. Don't let any women read it. Don't let any wives,
Very nice.
including mine.
Do you talk about kamikazes in the book by any chance?
I kamikazed everything. I'm only leaving a few areas gray.
Very nice.
Rick, our chat room, we have a chat room going here today, and one person, this is a real interesting question. I'm just going to throw this completely out for your thoughts. One of our people asked, what was your greatest match ever in the /NWA WCW, and what was your greatest match in WWF/WWE?
Well, I don't know. You know, it's funny. I always have to answer that with one of my matches with Steamboat, because I guess people think of those matches as being my best ever, and I certainly enjoyed working with Ricky a lot. So probably one of my matches with Ricky Steamboat '89 was the NWA WCW, and as far as the WWF goes, I don't think I've had my best match yet.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I think the way things are going, I think, believe it or not, I think the match I had Monday night was my best match thus far. The night when I wrestled Hunter.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think I'm capable of a lot better. I wish that I had felt like I do right now when I would wrestle The Undertaker, because he was there. You know, he's a tremendous performer in a groove all by himself, and I wasn't able to give him what he gave me. And I'm saying that right from the heart. I was not able to perform that night in Toronto at the level I should have. And people still thought that match was okay. So, I mean, that would have been the biggest match I'd had thus far. But not knowing knowing and how I feel now and everything, I think the biggest match I've had in the WWF was the one I had last Monday night.
Well, I think that you and Shawn Michaels have the opportunity at Bad Blood to go out there, and I know it's a match both of you guys want to make happen. And Shawn, again, as I said before, will be in his element, and I know, no doubt, he's going to turn it on. And you know something, it is, like I say, a guy like you, but it is you. You're the Nature Boy, and all the guys who have come up in the last 20 years idolized your work ethic and idolized you as a performer, but as a man backstage as well, who seemed to take the time to make a young guy feel welcome in the locker room or in this business, but also some of the trials and tribulations you've been through in your career. the plane crash where you broke your back, and then to come back and win the championship 16 times, and to be at the point you are today. You said it out in the aftermath that you're 54 years old and the quality of life you're living now is so great. I just hope that it continues to get even better, and you and Shawn Michaels go out and steal the show at Bad Blood.
Well, thank you. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
I hope I can walk back to the curtain and say, follow that one.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, I feel that good about it. I'm so excited. I mean, that's my biggest difference. I haven't been excited. I mean, I can't wait to go to Portland. When I first came back to work, it was a job for me. It was, I labored with it. Even though everybody was, as nice as they are now, I just couldn't get in the groove. And I don't know how or why. I mean, I've heard of it happening to other athletes. But now I'm back in the groove, and I watch myself, which I very rarely do because I don't like to see, and I see where I can get a lot better. So, physically I feel good. I just got to get it better mentally, and my heart's in a big time, and hopefully it can all come together on the 15th, and continue to stay together for as long as they want to keep me here.
Rick, I want to just play the devil's advocate, if I may. Of course, you're part of the Raw team. I'm sure you get the opportunity every week to watch SmackDown. What have your impressions been on a fellow Minnesotan by the name of Brock Lesnar?
I think he's done a phenomenal job. He was put in a big time spot and on short notice, and he's pulled every bit of it off. He's a tremendous athlete. He's got a tremendous attitude. Of course, having performed at the level he did as an amateur, probably took away some of that crowd shock that can be there in the beginning. But he was never overwhelmed. He stood in there and he took it, and he has become a tremendous performer.
And Rick, another thing I wanted to bring up, you've virtually been injury-free, considering a lot of the major injuries that a lot of our superstars have suffered over the past few years. Of course, the bar seems to be raised a lot. The risk-taking was always there. There are a couple of talents over in SmackDown that I would like to, one in particular, and you're very familiar with Kurt Angle, there's no question. Yes. Kurt's just about ready to come back to action. He had a severe injury, but he's back within 2 months. Your injuries have been very minimal as far as majors, certainly not wishing anything on you, but now Kurt's coming back. Tom, I'm going to just say it, I'd love to see Kurt wrestle Ric Flair. I would pay.
I would too. I was in a tag match with Kurt this year, and
right.
And Kurt's another one that I wasn't ready to perform at that level with Kurt, but I sure would like it again. I mean, I got to wrestle Rock when I wasn't ready. I mean, it's not that they haven't given me the opportunity. I just couldn't live up to the expectation.
Absolutely.
And I'm not shy about saying that. I don't feel bad because it's the truth. I could not give those guys what they were giving me, and now I can. And I mean, I can certainly try. I certainly can do better. Let me give it.
Absolutely.
Like that.
Talking about injuries, now we haven't. This is the most unique question we've had today. As bizarre as this is, Tom, why don't you read that?
Well, you're talking about demolition.
Yes, absolutely.
Rick, this is a question that I know a lot of people have asked. I know I've heard it before, but a question I've always wanted to know, or always wanted an answer to, seriously. Rick, why do you wear your knee pads so far down?
Because I've got skinny calves.
Oh, the answer again.
There it is.
Very nice.
That's the truth.
Hey,
okay, well, demolition, there's your answer.
I look like a stork in the pond.
A revelation. Rick,
yeah.
Great.
Rick, give me your impressions so far. Obviously, at Bad Blood, you have a tremendous matchup with Shawn Michaels coming up, and of course, you have been pretty much in vogue with Triple H. Give me your thoughts on Triple H as a person, as a champion, and give us your take on what you think that match is going to be like in the cell with Kevin Nash.
Well, first of all, I can't say enough about him as a person, which is the most important thing. He is a quality person. He comes from a quality family. I've had a chance to get to know his mom and dad pretty well. They're great people that I've had to spend a lot of time raising a couple beautiful kids. He's got a beautiful sister. He's a very genuine, real person, not afraid to say what he thinks, which I like, and I'm very flattered that he thinks as much, that he thought as much of me as a wrestler when he was growing up. He has become, in my estimation, as I said, the best wrestler in our business. I think if you take the three best right now would be Kurt Angle, Shawn, and Hunter. Wow. On a given day. But right now, I think Hunter is the top of his game. I mean, and he's got a ways to go. I mean, he'll be there for a long time. He's been He's had, one major injury which kept him out for a while, but he's able to come back. And the thing that people don't understand, I mean, and the guys understand, but the people that watch is to be able to go out there and do that 3, 4, sometimes 5 days a week, and have that ability to get in the ring and work as hard as you possibly can, whether the crowd is 250 or 25,000. You've got to give them their. That's what separates, wrestlers from guys that want to be real good at what they do. He's going out there and going through the motions and getting back, getting a shower down the road. That doesn't help. You got to go in there and you got to feel that passion. And he's got, I don't think he'd have to go to work every night, you guys, if he didn't want to. I'm sure that he could, make a phone call and stay home. But he goes to every little town, every big town. Right. And that's what I admire. He's not, he's never shy. As a matter of fact, he wants me to work more. I said, hell, I thought being your partner, I'd have more time off. So when I ask for time, he's not calling me, wanting to know where I am. So, it's tremendous. And I mean, on a day-to-day basis, I think he's the elite performer in our business. And I think a lot of people saw a special kind of cat in the ring with me the other night.
No question. Rick, you make a very valid point on one thing. No matter if it's 200, 2,000, or 20,000, the WWE superstars are larger than life sometimes.
Exactly.
And when they come into a city that is, excuse me, Rick, starving for the sight of some real men in the ring, it's well worth it, no matter where you are. Now, tomorrow we're in Portland, Oregon. Last week we're in Bossier City, Louisiana. Rick, you've crisscrossed this great country many, many times. No matter how big or how small, it's just a pleasure to go out there and perform.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's the thrill of it all. That's what these guys have. These guys that are on the Raw and SmackDown rosters go in there every night. I mean, they're thrilled about going to Portland. I never heard there was going to be 17,000 people. The guys couldn't wait. And I think, for the most part, they can't wait to get there for 2,000 because they know that if they work hard, all these guys are young. They know that if they work hard, that the market, there's a cycle in our business, no matter whether they want to play it off 2 or 3 guys leaving and coming and going. Our business has cycled itself for years. I'm living proof of it. And
no question.
We have a little dip in attendance right now. It'll be back in 6 months. But it's only going to come back if the guys work as hard in arenas as they do on TV, and they are. And I'm very proud to say that the ones I watch out there are busting their ass every night. And thank God I don't have to go to a table like one of those guys working with the Dudleys every night. I would have really drank a lot.
Well, Rick, I just want to say it's been a pleasure for not only myself but all the guys in our developmental program and all the guys who are on the roster now to have the opportunity to not only train with you, but get in the ring and actually have matches. Of course, Hurricane Field talked to us about how it was a dream and an honor to work with you in the ring as well. And I want to wish you the best of luck at Bad Blood, and I want to wish you the best of luck doing what you're doing now. You're having a great time. It seems like your head and your heart are back into it, and that's what it's about, because you are a guy who has a passion, love, and desire for the business. And just the chance to get to talk to you is enough for me at times. So good luck, and we hope to see you soon.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate the time, and you guys have a great weekend.
Rick, I'll see you tomorrow.
Howard?
Yes.
Tell every one of them that none of them could be first, but any bunch of them, or a whole horde of them could be next.
There you go.
That's great.
Nice.
All the best, Rick.
Bye, guys.
Continued success. Rick Flair, I know I'm getting kind of
you're getting out of the
shot
picture
there,
pal.
and our producer's getting a little upset.
Yeah.
We could have spent more time with Rick, there's no question. He's just a phenomenal guy. And, I've been with him on the road at these live events that we do, and the spark is back.
Fantastic.
And the twinkle is in his eye, and Dr. Tom, he's really been rejuvenated, and that's only going to be a plus for all concerned.
Well, it is a plus because, again, Ric Flair is a guy who, one of those guys that you want to meet if you love this business, you live and breathe by this business. Ric Flair is a man that you do want to soak up that knowledge, you want to soak up the excitement that he brings whenever he walks in somewhere. He does have that charisma. He has something that every young guy in this business, and old guy, any veteran, can learn from, look and appreciate, and grab a little Ric Flair. What made him that champion? What makes him the man he is today, and who he is in the ring?
Just it's so infectious to hear a man who has been on a roller coaster ride over these last 6 or 7 years and now who is really, just ecstatic with his craft again. It's just tremendous, Dr. Tom. And do we have a winner in our contest?
Next week we will have one.
We still are. The winners. The correct answers are still pouring in.
Yeah, we're going to pick 3.
We're going to pick 3 winners. Can I give them the answers? The contest officially over?
Yeah, I just want to say,
Arno, is the contest over?
Yeah.
hey, Arno.
Yeah.
Hey,
All
thanks,
right.
thanks, Bubba Boulder,
All
by
right.
the way.
The question is officially over. The contest is officially over. You know the answer?
Question's over, too.
Yeah, the question over too, Bubba. What
Yeah.
what was the answer, Tom? Do you know what?
What question are you
WrestleMania-
asking about?
Well, if it's for the cookbook, what WrestleMania did JR make his debut at?
Oh, that would be WrestleMania.
You got 19. Take the 1 away from the 9.
8.
Yeah, 9. He's right. 9 minus 1 is 8. That's very good. Actually, it's WrestleMania 9.
Yeah.
So
whatever.
we're going to get all the correct answers, put them in the pool, and they'll drown. But besides the point, we will select 3 at random.
Well, actually, the first 3. That's
The first 3 that sent the correct answers? Now you make me look bad. I said we're
Yeah,
going to pool all
sure,
the
he
answers.
makes you look bad. He
Anyway,
does that,
3
doesn't he?
people are going to win a copy of JR's brand new cookbook, personally autographed to you by good old JR himself.
I am
Dr.
taking this
John,
one. I am taking
when
this
is your book coming out?
Let me see. It'll be the 12th.
Of what year?
Never. Thank
The
you very
12th
much.
of never?
Yeah, I don't think there's enough people who really give 2 flying fernums about what I did, how I did it, and there's not
Do
a
you
whole lot
know
of
how
things.
many people, excuse me for interrupting, but I
Okay.
must. You know how many people still are waiting with bated breath to know what are you a doctor of?
Do you know that I wrote that in a column on my commentary and you didn't read it?
My server was down.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much. Read Sweet Home Alabama, pal.
All right.
Talks about how I became a doctor.
You're a doctor of what?
It was a Mother's Day. It was a Mother's Day deal. Read the article. It's a doctor about how Robert Fuller stopped the fact. And I know, but hey, don't be sitting back there talking under your breath, pal.
All righty. Folks, this has been a great bite this week. We again apologize for our rough road that we encountered in the first portion of the show, but our crack staff of Kevin Sullivan and Mr. Vallow over there and Arno himself.
Kevin Sullivan's working here?
We really, yes, he is.
Taskmaster!
We are very, very, very glad you withstood us and hung with us.
Boy,
And guess
howdy,
what?
beef vegetable stew. That looks
Guess
good
what
on
I'm
hell,
not
too.
doing this week? I'm not
What?
shilling. Because I heard a couple of weeks, the first week I was out of here after having a stretch run here on this program,
Yeah.
you and Coach, basically you more than Coach,
I would never do that.
put the Beazoots to me.
I don't put Beazoots to nobody.
You were ribbing me.
I don't rib you, man. I don't rib you, and I don't want to be ribbed. Oh, but I do have to put my towns up. Listen, I'm going to be in half catch bunches, and I'm going to be 14 stamps, and I'll be on my 14 step fire step.
And if you can get your tickets, that's great. Actually,
Yeah.
tomorrow night we are psyched because, Tom, I wish you could join us in Portland,
I wish
Oregon.
you could, too.
It's going to be
I can't.
electric.
Yep.
I know, Vallow's going to be there.
I'm going to say hello to my big boy, my buddy Lloyd Lee.
Who's
in
our
Portland,
guest?
Oregon.
Who's our guest next week?
Lloyd Lee, Portland, Oregon. He's going to be there tomorrow.
We're feverishly in negotiations, folks.
You
with
got a fever?
Yeah, 103.
Me too.
All right.
I'm taking this book, guys.
All right, we take that book. We're feverishly
am.
looking for Kurt Angle to
We're
join
gonna
us
make
next
salmon.
week here on Bite This. And
Slobber
don't
knocker
forget,
salmon.
join us next week. I might be here. No, I'll be in England next week.
Oh, who cares?
Maybe I'll phone in.
Come on.
We'll see you next
Look at
week.
this,
Whoever's
man.
in this chair,
Look at
who the hell
this.
knows?
Look
See
at
you
this.
on Bite This.
Look at
Bye,
that tart,
everybody.
man. This is good tart.
I extended my time and it was well worth it.